Are you tired of in-person arguments that seem to get you nowhere? Look no further than the internet to find a community where you can voice opinions that you hold strongly. Confusing, daunting, I know. I'm here to help you, a new internet user, navigate the spaces and communities that exist on the internet and learn how to best voice your strong opinions in a way that help you learn and grow as a person. This is Carlos's New User's Guide to Online Discourse. The first step in finding your place in an online community is understanding how they work. In Aziz Ansari's book Modern Romance, he talks about how dating online allows you to filter through and check off points on a list for potential dating candidates. Communities online work the same exact way. While on one hand this is helpful and makes it faster and easier to connect with people who are similar to us, it can be problematic when it introduces more polarization and makes it easier for people to group themselves strictly with others who share the same exact beliefs. We can use the gaming community as a perfect example. While games, for the most part, are the same whether you're on a PC, Xbox, or PlayStation, many gamers feel that their platform is superior, and communities exist online for all platforms. They are healthy and allow for people to meet others who share an interest with them. These communities exist for every kind of person, including flat earthers and bird deniers. But what happens when communities with opposing viewpoints come into conflict online? Well, at its worst, the internet is a forest fire, and people sending mean tweets are
burning buckets of hot lava.
Okay, maybe that's a little extreme. Let me explain. Perhaps this is overgeneralization, but people who exist in communities online generally fall into three main categories. The first is lava. These are users who are angry and destructive. They don't listen, and every time an argument is thrown at them, they burn up. And when you try to jump in them, well, this is what happens. Here are some examples of tweets and postings that fall into the lava category. As you can see, they often resort to personal attacks and aren't very effective in conveying their point. This is not where you want to be. The second category is water, a step up from the lava category. When arguments are thrown at water users, nothing really happens. They're pretty much just observers. This is where the majority of users lie. Here are some examples. As you can see, they're not necessarily offensive or defensive. They serve as an expression of the interests of the community that they're posted in. Now, say you're online and you get poisoned. This is where the third and best bucket comes into play, milk. As you just saw, by drinking milk, the user was able to overcome and recover from the poison they were given. Unless, of course, the user is lactose intolerant, but that's a nuance for another project. This is where you want to be, supportive and constructive, arguing with open-mindedness, and seeking to learn other sides' viewpoints while exchanging ideas. While most users fall under water, the lavas of the community are destructive and give bad reputations to the community at large. This increases polarization and is not where you want to be as a community. So now that you have a basic understanding of how the internet operates and communities within them, you might be thinking to yourself, how can I become milk? How can I ensure that the other members of my communities are milk too? Now we're going to be looking over some guidelines, rules if you will, that you and community members can follow to ensure the best and healthiest discourse between you and other community members. We're going to be going over the proposed rules and how they'll work. The first rule is that there's room to grow and learn more. Sometimes your mind will change, and that's okay. You should be using discourse between communities as an opportunity to grow and increase your knowledge on the subject. And so it makes sense that when you learn new things, your mind might shift, and that's okay. You're also not always going to know everything. The scale of the internet allows people of all experience levels to take part in communities there. So it's only natural that there'll be people who know more than you, or have more experience in the area that you're arguing about. And always keep in mind that your community can help you grow. The second rule is knowing when to stop. People aren't always going to be receptive to new ideas. Sometimes they already got the point and don't really need any more comments drilling your point home. This prevents personal attacks and keeps the argument from staying on a level of understanding that's mutual and not personally attacking each user. The dangers of not following these first two rules are present throughout almost every anecdote in Jon Ronson's So You've Been Publicly Shamed. Chapter 6 tells the story of Adria Richards, a woman who attended a coding convention and was shamed for posting a picture of two men she didn't know who, according to her, said an insensitive comment. However, the shaming quickly got way out of hand. Since the 4chan users primarily responsible for the worst of the shaming didn't know when to stop, Adria had lost her job and received countless death and rape threats. This is unacceptable. While there's no way to know whether or not this unfortunate situation could have been prevented, in online communities moving forward, we can implement these guidelines in communities to prevent events such as this from happening again. Moderators can filter for abnormally rapid responses between users that contain aggressive language. They can also offer a cooldown period for how frequently a user can be tagged or responded to. However, as with all automated filtering systems, this is inherently flawed. And of course, manual human moderation would be more efficient. But the scale of the internet doesn't allow that and makes it unfeasible. So these are steps in the right direction. The third and final rule is the most important, and it's finding a space where discourse is accepted. Again, this rule is the most important as it can be easily implemented to a wide group of people and is not on the individual level like the first two rules. This rule out of the three caters the most to moderators, people who are in charge of building spaces and maintaining them. They are the ones who can make spaces that encourage healthy discourse and maintain them, which is just as important. Where you find spaces dedicated for discourse between communities, people there will be more willing to listen. Since it's not a surprise that there are disagreements that come up, they'll be more receptive to them. They'll be seen as less of a sneak attack, if you will. As a wise Aang once said,
Sneak attack! Saga, sneak attacks don't work if you yell it out loud.
in the same manner, people will be less likely to feel personally attacked when you disagree with them. A perfect example of what this space would actually look like and how this rule can be implemented is the subreddit r/politics. As the name suggests, it doesn't cater to a specific political leaning. It's open to all people willing to discuss politics and has clear community guidelines that explicitly state the rules and expectations of respect in the community. As always, working towards implementing new rules is a hurdle, a hassle for all members of the community. But these guidelines outlined are extremely important, as the majority of current arguments online are at a surface level and often quickly get personal. That's not as constructive and shouldn't be the goal of those participating in these arguments. These rules will help prevent personal attacks and help us grow and be healthier during inevitable disagreements that come together online. It's important that members find a healthy balance of communities that are similar and communities that are different from them. This will result in an online culture that most closely seeks to replicate perhaps the most beautiful aspect of human life, learning from diverse perspectives. And as the internet continues to connect people with similar viewpoints on a scale that's never before been seen, it's important to not lose sight of the fact that people from other communities can often teach us more than we think. Thank you for watching my video and enjoy your summer.